Broadcasting live, this is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars.
I like to smoke them like some Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. Honest Abe here with KMA Talk Radio with my co-hosts every Saturday morning, the Southpaw Philly himself, Alex Tavella.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
You have me paranoid now, like every time I say your last name.
You got it right this time.
I get it right all the time.
Nah, you do not get it right all the time.
What do I say if I don't say Tavella?
You say Tavala, which I don't know where that comes from. Normally, I get a Travella, which I feel like is a mixture of like Alex Trebek, John Travolta type thing that people mess up. But you throw an O in there.
I throw an O in there. And, of course, the best producer that we could possibly afford, Paul DeGrocca. And are you back on the island?
Yeah, I'm on Long Island now. And you got it right, by the way. You said on Long Island. That's
I know. I remembered. You're back on the island.
I am on Long Island, but we are preparing to make our trip back down to South Florida soon. Since the temperature's in the 50s here this morning, my children and dogs don't know what the hell to do with themselves. So we realize it's time to get back to warm weather.
Like, did each of your kids have a birthday now while you were gone?
No, one of them did. Axel did.
It seems like it. It seems like you've been gone long enough, like they've had birthdays now, like you've been away.
No, the baby's not a year old yet. He's 6 months. He'll be 6 months this week. So, yeah. But, yeah, we were gone quite a while. Everybody's birthdays that live up here on Long Island are in August, though. It's funny. My mom, my dad, my mother-in-law. So we got to celebrate. Axel's birthday was when we were here on July 31st. So we have celebrated a lot of birthdays here, to be honest. My dog, Nala, her birthday. I know you probably celebrate dog birthdays.
I was just curious when the cat's birthday is.
We don't... Oh, God, here we go. We don't have a cat, but...
I don't know why you just don't want to admit it.
Now, you're allegedly fully an anti-cat guy?
Who, me?
Is that right? I know there's a cat thing with you.
I'm not anti-cat. Abe just thinks I should have cats. He thinks I'm the type of person that would have cats.
Paul just seems like he'd be a cat guy.
You do seem like a cat guy a little. I mean, if there was like a cat behind you, just
let me ask you something
on the thing, it would make sense.
It's about Paul that he just fights me on. It just seems so relevant to anybody who meets him, right? So you don't know Paul, Alex. You meet him. He doesn't say his last name. You're sitting at a bar. Does the concept of this guy might be Italian ever enter in your mind?
No.
Because
no.
Paul could be the least Italian person I've ever met.
I wear a cornicello. Can I be any more Italian?
I'm just telling you, you're the least Italian person I think I've ever met. And listen, even after I know he's Italian, I forget. And every time he brings it up, I'm like, oh, that's right, you're Italian. That's how un-Italian he is.
That's fair. Yeah, I wouldn't see that.
You don't know me in my personal life. I make sauce on a regular basis. We have Sunday dinner at my house. Like we're very traditional.
The fact that you call it sauce already is a
First of all,
gravy.
No. If you call it gravy, you're from South Philly.
The bus, buddy.
No. It's not gravy. The New York Italians do not call it gravy.
Every New York Italian I've met has called it gravy.
No, that's the well. See, I don't want to get into it, but Alex,
we've scientifically broke it down. We broke it down. I mean, scientifically, it's gravy. If we go by the logic of food and what gravy consists of, it's gravy.
And how you use gravy?
Well, what is a gravy? What would you consider gravy?
It's that brown stuff that you put on mashed potatoes and meat.
And what is it made with?
It's cornstarch, flour,
meat.
And meat drippings.
Right. So now what do you put in sauce?
Not cornstarch and flour, but yeah, there's...
Yeah, but what's the underlying...
base?
The meat is the base.
The meat is what you start with. That is correct.
Right.
But you don't
Right,
start
so
with a
it's-
roux like you do with a traditional gravy.
But the base is the meat, which makes it a gravy.
Listen, we
Unless
need
you're
to get the
making a
real chef on here.
marinara
Let's-
sauce.
When we talk to Eric Espinoza again next time, we'll get the real
Eric
chef to talk about
Espinoza
it.
doesn't qualify.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah, he really doesn't. Eric Espinola only qualifies like myself, only by consumption. That's it. Let me just ask you a question, right? A caprese salad consists of what?
It'll
asking
be
me? Or you asking
No, I'm asking the non-Italian.
the non-Italian. It's tomatoes, basil, and mozzarella, right?
All right, at least he said mozzarella. I was waiting for him to say mozzarella.
Right.
Never.
Yeah,
Disgraziata. I would never say that.
I was waiting for him to say mozzarella.
No way. I
And
was teaching
mozzarella
Axel.
cheese.
I was teaching Axel. He had regatta for the first time the other day, and I was teaching him how to say regatta, and he's here now. Axel, say regatta. Okay. See?
Good
He
enough.
knows
Good enough.
how to- We teach him the right way.
So you're heading back this week, huh?
Yeah, we plan to drive overnight Monday and stop about a little more than halfway, stay for a day or two with my father-in-law, and then make our way back to South Florida finally, so we can warm up.
Are you at least documenting like their first road trip pretty well?
My wife is. She takes a lot of
All right,
pictures.
good.
I don't know if you're watching
Good.
if you've watched our Facebook.
I've got a lot of
yeah.
Facebook stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, she
It's
takes
technically
pictures.
their first road trip ever, man.
Yeah, it was, and it's a doozy, putting 2 kids under 2, well, Axel turned 2 while we were here, and 2 dogs in my wife's like compact SUV. It's been an experience, and driving 22 hours up here. I'm just not looking forward to the trip back. It's just difficult. The baby doesn't like the car, so we bought him. See, you're gonna yell at me, but we bought another iPad for the baby because he likes to watch Baby Einstein in the car. It quiets him up. So
No.
we're in the car for that long.
Babies, electronics and stuff is okay.
Okay, yeah.
TV,
so-
electronics, our kids watch. It's as soon as they get old enough that they don't need it, that we took it all away from them. But all the babies, like the TV was on the baby channel at all times.
yeah.
We let them do stuff on the iPads. But that's because, there's very little they could do at that age.
Right.
They're not reading.
They can't get into
they're not
trouble.
running around. Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do.
Right.
But, it wasn't until they get a little bit older that we pulled all the electronics away.
Yeah,
from them.
Axel's getting obsessed with it. But he likes to play the games and like matching and colors and shapes. So right now he's okay. We had to take regular YouTube off of his iPad though, because I walked in the other day and he was watching
My
some like
12-year-old doesn't have YouTube on her iPad.
I didn't think of it.
I don't do regular YouTube for my.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
I don't know, but I walked in and he was watching some like Latina dance fest with the girls in bikinis shaking their butts. And I was like,
Hilarious.
well, time to take it away.
You didn't pull out your phone and record that right away?
No, because I thought I would get yelled at for
Oh
having
my
him watch
God,
it.
that's
So,
hilarious.
yeah,
I
so
totally recorded it.
so we put YouTube Kids on there, and he hates it because he can't, he doesn't have as much flexibility with selecting things on it.
So listen, what's the scoop with Colin? Will he get on in 2020?
Yeah, I talked to him this morning. He said that he hasn't been able to get to the shop because he's working so late. Because now his handyman job, they are working like all hours of the night as well.
Get to which shop?
Get to your shop to pick up the
Okay,
hard
so
drive
listen,
from Adam.
Let me make this clear in front of a whole live audience.
Sure.
Make it happen this week. I will get it personally delivered wherever he's at. Stop giving me excuses on why he's not
Perfect.
back on.
Perfect.
Why do I got to find out like after the fact? Let's get Colin back on the show. I've been telling you this for 2 weeks.
No,
Listen, I know you're like on a mental vacation while you're up north. You're
I'm
not
so
really
not.
working.
I'm so
You're
not.
pretending like you got a job and you're doing stuff. But yeah, when you get back, this crap's over. This crap's over.
Colin will be back for the next show as of
Good.
this morning.
And by the way,
As
I
of
don't know if
this
any of our listeners or followers out there caught it, but I hope you guys liked the new intro.
Oh, yeah, that was a new intro today.
That was the new intro,
I
brand
almost
new
forgot
intro.
about that.
Yes.
That's great.
We got some KMA changes on the way as far as technology. I even came up with our brand new segment because our producer won't do his job. And I hope to have our brand new segment It won't be every week. I think it'll be at least like every other week segment. It'll be a special featured segment that my wife actually inspired me to think of last night while I was driving home. And I'm gonna hopefully get the first one up next week. And I'm not even telling Paul what the segment is because he's not.
Yeah,
really,
I don't know either.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
I just thought of it last night. I'll tell you later, but we're not even telling Paul because he's not even worthy.
We don't need
he's not
Paul
really
to critique it
producing
yet.
anything, so why tell him? Let him experience it for the first time next Saturday.
I thought you were going to do it today.
I just thought of it last night.
All right. Well, you said you made it seem like it was going to be a surprise for me today. So
It'll be a surprise when it happens.
okay. I want to talk about your live event with Eric Espinoza, who's actually on and commenting and listening to us right now. Dude, let me tell you something. I've met Eric a lot of times, and heard a lot of his stories. We've had him on the show a bunch. There were a couple of stories there that I don't think have ever been made public before, right?
You know, when you know each other 25 years, 20 some years, I mean, there's a lot of stories. I mean, there's still stories that probably haven't, been made public or come out publicly. So, yeah, I mean, I think we came up with a couple stories. I mean, I know we've probably shared them, whether we shared them on KMA or shared them to the full world. But, hanging out with Eric or doing a virtual event or an interview with Eric is, it's just like we're sitting around talking like we normally do. It's very natural because we've done and shared and been around each other for such a long period of time.
And the story of how he found Hector, like I didn't know any of that. And honestly, the story of him dissolving his first partnership, I knew a little bit about it, but he really got into it. It was really,
people tend to talk about that stuff more the further it gets away.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm hoping in another 5 years we'll learn why Terrence Riley really left Quesada Cigars, right?
Oh, man.
But there's certain things that never really come out, right, in this industry, which baffles me because there's really very little secrets in this industry. Like till this day, certain things are kept under wraps. That it's like who killed Kennedy, right? That's how I look at it in this industry. Till this day, and maybe Kurt, Kurt's coming on. He's our Meet Your Makers. Maybe he'll know. But I've never heard a rumor, or I've never even heard a fake, a possible story, whatever, of how Nick Perdomo and Mike Argeni split up. Mike's his brother-in-law, and he was vice president of Perdomo for years, and then just overnight that relationship ended and it was over. And I think it's got to be at least 15 plus years now, and I have no clue how or what, or never even heard a story about how that happened. So time will usually let guys get a little more honest and talk about stuff like that, but some things I guess are just going to go to the grave.
Wow.
Start digging for these questions next time we have these guys on. Just gotta throw it out there and see what we get.
It's hard, but you never really get. I mean, that's one I never even heard anything from anybody about. This is an industry, man. They love to talk about stories, right? I mean, Charlie's posting a story before I even hear. Charlie's posting about some of our microblends before I even made a press release. I'm like, dude, how did you hear about it? Seriously, I'm not kidding. So, it's one of those industries where really stories like to be told. And that's one that I have no idea. But no, it was great having Eric on. It was actually it reminded me of the interview that we did with Jonathan during the Dogma release, because Jonathan also, we have way history going back. And those are kind of, sentimental interviews when we have them.
Right.
Well, and speaking of Jonathan, one other thing that I didn't realize is that the way that Juan Cancel and Eric hooked up was through Jonathan Drew. He said that Jonathan introduced him to Juan Cancel, and that's how that, it came to be that Lazona started making the Protocol cigars, which is another cool little factoid. But it was really cool. I gotta say, it was. Eric was on point, and it was really interesting to watch. I watched a little bit of it live, and then I even went back later and watched the rest of it, and really really enjoyed it. Those live events are cool, and I agree with Eric. I feel like you guys get more notoriety out of doing it online. I mean, as great as it is to do live events at the shops, which obviously hopefully that will come back someday soon, I still think that these live events are even though you probably had 200 people watching at the time, it feels so intimate. So I like that.
Look, a lot of it's part of the process, right? I mean, it's always going to feel more intimate when I'm talking to somebody I have had a relationship with 20 years. I mean,
Right, right.
Eric's literally family. He's one of the few. He's one of the few people that I have a professional relationship with that was invited to my wedding. I was invited to his wedding out in Vegas. So I mean, those are always going to be more intimate and more emotional and more, sentimental because there's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
Eric and I are both like literally like noobs. We were babies in the industry at the same time. He had just left UPS and was a rep for Carib Imported Cigars, which later became Camacho, and I would like just got in the business. And I met him because I met all their sales reps because Sal Fontana, one of my mentors, was heavily involved with Camacho and Carib Imported Cigars. He worked with Julio Roa for over 30 years, and that's how I met all the people who worked over there.
It's a cool story, man. When's the next event? Do you have one scheduled?
We have one scheduled with Pete Johnson
in October.
Yeah, I don't have the final date off the top of my head, but I think it's mid to third week of October maybe, and that should be pretty cool. We've dug up a lot of stuff out of the vault, a lot of rare stuff, a lot of old dress boxes, some pork chops, some really cool stuff, and I think it's going to be another debut of Pete's event-only cigar. Now, he's had that pumpkin cigar for a while now.
I have one in my humidor, actually.
But now he has this new size called the Shrunken Pumpkin, and it'll be the debut of that event cigar. So that'll be the event cigar for that event. So it'll be pretty cool.
Speaking of pumpkin, is pumpkin spice taking over South Florida like it is up here?
Well, it's that time of year. It becomes a Starbucks drink of choice, right?
That's a very non-Italian question. I just want to throw that out there.
I'm telling you.
We're what Italians call the I don't know if this is a bad word or not. It might be a racial slur, but they call us the Menegan.
Menegans.
The Menegan. We're the Italians that turned into white people.
Yes. Yes.
All right, we have a great guest with us, an old friend of the show, Abe. One of your personal friends, right?
I have a deep affinity and affection for this guy. Tons of respect. And it's funny because I knew of him for many, many, many years. And look, there's people that and you see every year, but you just never take the time to stop and interact with. He was one of these guys. I really can't remember what got us interacting. I think maybe it was when we first bought his brand, because on top of having a great retail shop, which we'll talk about, he's also a brand owner, and we'll talk about his well-known brand. I think that got us going, but the more and more we got to know each other, man, we just, like when we were talking about pre-show, you asked me if I'd ever been up there yet, and I said no. But, I don't just say shit that's a trip I really want to make. Head up there and hang out in his shop in his area for a weekend, get out of town with my wife for a weekend. I'm glad we got him on. It's always a pleasure to talk.
So without further ado, Mr. Kurt Kendall from 724 Cigars. Kurt, how you doing?
Excellent. How about yourself?
We're hanging in, man. It looks like Kurt's living the life over there, huh, guys?
Absolutely.
Kurt,
not a bad place.
Yeah, when I watch Kurt or follow Kurt really seems like he's gotten to the point of his career where he's savoring the moments of life, which is what we all want to get to. I mean, we work hard, and what do we work hard for if you can't stop? And some people don't know how. Like my dad was one of those ones. I mean, he really didn't know how to stop and savor a lot of things in life until he was really forced to sell the business, because I kind of moved away and left him, So, yeah. My brother had his own place. I moved away. He's like, I'm done. None of my kids want the family business, so he got out. But he's gotten. I tell you what. Sometimes it takes a life moment. I tell you what changed for my dad. My dad, I'll never forget. My dad had been an avid racquetball player. He got us playing racquetball like at 4 years old when we were young. I mean, just constant racquetball player. Still plays. I mean, he may have stopped in the last year or so, but played throughout his whole life. He'll still go and play. And I'm going to maybe go about 15 years ago, maybe a little longer, 15, 16 years ago. He was having back pains. He thought he had hurt himself playing racquetball. So he finally went to the doctor, and he thought it was like a pull or a strain, and ended up he had a tumor in his kidney.
Oh, my God.
The size of a golf ball.
I never heard this story.
Yeah. I remember I got the news. They had done the surgery. I had the Honda Classic that week, and I remember getting the call when he came out of surgery. They took it out. He lost only a little bit of his kidney, and has been free. No, never had to go through chemo or anything. But that changed his life.
Yeah.
After that, my dad became a traveling fool. Every year he takes 3 or 4 trips. He's been everywhere, and he'll go on a whim all over the world, from Vietnam to Argentina. And it was, I hate to say it like this, but honestly, it was kind of like the best thing that ever happened to him, because they just don't know how to savor those moments in life. They were born farmers. My dad's one of 10 kids. They were born for child labor, literally. Oh, we got a big crop coming up. We got to have another kid. That's that's what it was. And that's how God bless him. My grandfather was. The village, the communal monastery would do these pilgrimages through towns, and they came up to my grandfather's place once and goes, "Hey, do you want to send any one of your kids to be a priest?" My grandfather looks around, sees my dad. He goes, "Yeah, take that one." That's what it was. My dad spent 2 years in a monastery, becoming a priest, and then couldn't take it anymore, ran away, and then got whooped by my grandfather for leaving, But that's the life they have. So they didn't develop these things of, oh yeah, let me enjoy myself. So
Right.
For him, that was the best thing that ever happened. So when I watch Kurt, I love it, because Kurt just seems to be at that, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be at a place in life where, hey, I've worked hard, I got a good business, but it's important to enjoy all the little things that are going on.
That is correct, Abe. I've been really trying to live that way the last few years. I've had a lot of situations in my life where I recognize that that's probably what I should be doing, and not being at work 6 or 7 days a week, every week. I did that. I've been working for myself almost 35 years. So, it's a blessing of a lot of the things that I've been able to do in life, from traveling at work to enjoying my home here, and just really, taking advantage of the fruits of my labor, and enjoying myself a little bit more than I have in the past.
Oh, good for you, because honestly, a lot of people have a hard time getting to that point. So, I want to focus on the retail aspect of your business, and then we'll get into the brand 724. So, Kurt, for guys who don't know your shop, you have a phenomenal shop, a very well-established shop, Twin Smoke Shop up in New Hampshire. What did you do before you got in the business, and how did you eventually get into cigar retail?
Well, I was basically a very low-educated laborer, is really how I went through my life. And, I'm street smart, but never got a lot of schooling. And I basically just worked myself up through the ranks of being a laborer. And
what kind of labor? What were you doing? Construction? What kind of labor?
Construction, excavation, that type of thing.
Okay.
Landscape. But I always had a very keen entrepreneurial mind. I always had some sort of side hustle or something I would do on the weekends. And, that entrepreneurial side of me never stopped growing. I've lost thousands of nights sleep thinking about the next idea or the next plan or move. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Abe.
You mean you go to sleep?
I do. I have no problem going to sleep. It's staying to sleep. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I wake up.
Yeah, I got the opposite problem. I got troubles getting myself into bed to go to sleep. But once I sleep, I'm out like a log. But if I could squeeze out 4 hours in a night, if I could actually let my mind wind down, because it's like I'm stubborn. I don't get to this point saying, oh, it's this time I should go to bed. I literally wait till all right, I can't keep my eyes open, time to go lie down. And usually it's 2 or 3 in the morning. So, but once I lie down, I'm out. I'm gone. I could sleep through the morning.
Well, as I worked for myself all these years, I got introduced to premium cigars from my twin brother, Kevin.
Hold on. Now, see, here's a perfect example. I didn't even know you had a twin brother. This is the first time I've heard this in all the years I've known you.
We talked about it the last time he was on.
Did he?
Yeah, we talked about how he got into cigars.
You knew he had a twin brother?
Yeah.
All right, then that's my
that just answered a question I was going to ask, because my streak continues. Every time I'm on the air, a twin smoke shop comes up one way or another, whether it's my hometown shop of the twin shop, and now we have twin smoke shop. But I was going to ask where the name came from, and I guess we just got it.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about Anthony the other night in the twin shop, and we're twin smoke shop. And my neighbor just fired up his leaf blower, so I hope that's not.
Very little.
No, it's very,
Yeah.
very light.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good.
So what is are you identical or no?
Yeah, we're identical twins.
Oh my God.
My brother Kevin is, we look just alike. We're mirror image. So he's a lefty, I'm a righty. We
Tell me he doesn't have a beard right now.
He's got something going on.
Does he really? Okay, so
Oh,
next
yeah.
time you're with him, you honestly got to take a picture with your twin and tag me because I just want to see it.
I will, sure. I might see him in October.
Now,
But,
where does he live?
He lives in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, down in that area.
Not that
So
far.
we grew up in Hartford, Connecticut, and most of my family stayed in Connecticut, where right after high school, I moved to New Hampshire.
Why?
And, honestly, it was,
A girl?
I took a trip to visit a friend of mine who got transferred to New Hampshire, and we drank and had a great time and partied, and the culture shock of New Hampshire from Hartford, Connecticut was unbelievable. And I decided I never went back. I stayed in New Hampshire and moved up there, and I've been up here over 30 years.
Wow.
That's funny.
But,
That's how I came to Florida, really, on a visit, and I never went back. Same thing.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I've heard you say that before, and I've said,
Yeah.
wow, that's the same thing
Yeah.
I did.
Now, was your brother involved at all? Okay, so how did you finally look, as an entrepreneur, and I've seen this because I always try to get the young men who work for me, I try to get them ready for that next level in life. And there's been a couple times throughout my career, like two of our Smoke Inns are owned by former employees of ours, right? But there are times in life where an opportunity has arisen and some guy can't make that jump. Because to make an entrepreneurial jump, whether you've saved money or you got to go borrow money to do your first business, when it comes time and you're at the edge of that cliff, a lot of people can't make that move, right? When I was young, I was crazy. I was borrowing money, I didn't care, right? I look back.
Consequences meant nothing.
Yeah, consequences meant nothing. I had no wife. I had no kids. I'll figure it out. So I was jumping out of airplanes with no chute and didn't care. You know what I mean? Stuff I look back on I did 20 years ago. I'm like, wow, I was nuts. Because I would never take those kind of chances today. But some people don't. So here you are. You're a hard laborer or whatever. What happens in your head that says, because I don't care how small it is, when you get into retail, it's an investment. You got inventory. You got to build out. So, and it's always a risk. It's an inherent risk. So what got your frame of mind that snapped and said, okay, I'm done moving bobcats and excavating and I'm going to go into business for myself. Where was that moment?
Well, the enjoyment of cigars came first, and my twin brother introduced me to him. We were down in Boston having a cigar. We would meet halfway, and I was completely intrigued by the enjoyment and the of cigars. He was selling cigars in his small restaurant in Essex, Connecticut, out of an old Petriaca cigar case. So people were coming in, and it was midst of the cigar boom in the mid 90s, and we got talking a few times and said, hey, you want to get together and open up a cigar shop? You can move back to Connecticut, excuse me, and we could open up a twin smoke shop. So that was the initial thought and goal. Unfortunately, it didn't work out between him and I. Somebody had already got a head start in the town we selected, and I went back to New Hampshire, and he went back to his business, and I just got thinking, I'm tired of doing what I'm doing. I really love these cigars, and I'm willing to take one of those jumps with no parachute and cash in everything I have and start from scratch. At that point, I didn't know how to pronounce most cigars. I didn't know any of the terminology. All I knew was I loved cigars and I wanted to be around it. So, I started a small little 450 square foot shop in Londonderry, New Hampshire.
That's that's got to be no seating area.
No seating.
Yeah.
No. My first seat was like an antique wheelchair that somebody donated.
That sounds like Lou Rothman's first shop, where he had the sign that said the largest cigar store in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 800 square feet. 600 square feet.
Yeah, we had little to no inventory. I literally borrowed about 50 boxes of cigars from my brother, and I bought probably 50. I started in a manner where you couldn't do it today. I had, I literally had about $20,000 total. I had sold a couple of cars and a piece of equipment, and I built all my own cabinets. Wow. With the help of a master carpenter, and we did the whole build out ourselves. We had all the cigars lined up, which were very few, and it was at a time where you could not open an account. There was no chance of that. It was basically buying from a wholesaler, from a friend. We used to actually go and buy from Famous and in La Gloria Cubana, and we'd buy retail just to have something on the shelves.
Wow.
That's how tough it was to get cigars.
Yeah,
so I remember never
during
forget,
the boom, people weren't opening anybody up. I remember Sal Fontana, one of my mentors, guy rest his soul, literally walked me to Robbie Levine because like Ashton wasn't opening up nobody. You couldn't get an Ashton account. You know, Ashton today will open up a 7-Eleven somewhere if they wanted it to their cigars, right? I mean, literally. But like they weren't opening anybody up. And because Sal introduced me, they opened me up an account. Now I want you to imagine this. I'm going to say this, and anybody who's been a retailer who got in the business the last 5 years are going to go, what? You had to start just buying accessories. They wouldn't sell me cigars.
Yeah, that same thing happened with me with General.
Yeah,
we grew up in Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Their ashtrays. That's how I got open, and eventually they started shipping me cigars. That's how crazy it was during that time.
Yeah, we grew up in Bloomfield, Connecticut, right next to Hartford, and so we had a connection that worked for General Cigar or Colborough, and she's like, yes, I can get you an account, which was like, you know, another night's sleep lost, thinking about, wow, I'm going to get my first account. Well, when they finally reached out to us, the account consisted of buying polo shirts and hats. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, can't my connection do a little better than that? Just, how about one box of Macanudos?
Yeah.
Couldn't get it.
Crazy.
I think my first account open was with Puros Indios.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think it was back in the possibly the Eddie Ortega days. And that was the first account. And that was a big deal, like announcing to the world, we have Puros Indios, because it was a hot brand back then.
It was.
Big deal.
Before it took the turn. But yeah, it was Puros Indios was hot for a while there. There was openings during that time for good brands to come out because everybody else got blindsided. So you couldn't find Fuente, you couldn't find Macanudos anywhere. Nothing was around. So it was a good time for a few companies to shine. Puros Indios had their run. And I don't even know. Are they still making cigars?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, that was a brand around for a long time, but I don't even see it, hear it, and you know, I don't even know if they're still around. What typically happens with something like that is when it's gone, CI or somebody will buy the rights to the name, and they'll go start making their own renditions of it, and it'll exist forever in name only. I think Bahia is one of them. It's still out there.
So it's not the same cigar, as it's really just the brand.
Oh, the Reyes family was big, you know, in this business, and then I mean, I don't think they're still there, but they'll acquire the name, and the brand will exist, even though it has nothing to do with the origins anymore.
Right.
You know, I heard you guys earlier talking about the stories of that we know and hear, but I definitely know why Argenti and Perdomo split up. That was Argenti called it gravy, and Nick called it sauce. And
that was it
after
that.
Talk. That was it.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
That will ultimately be my demise here on the show.
Clearly.
You just reinforced my statement on how non-Italian you really are. That's all it is. That's all it is. So you got this little shop, Kurt. Now, you're starting to get brands. You make a move, you get a bigger store, seating area. And then I think it was 4 years ago now that you opened up your newest like big place. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were in that small location. We actually were there 18 years. We took over a portion of the building. It was a freestanding building, and half of it was being rented by someone else. So we were able to take that over throughout the years and grow into a small seating area. But 5 years ago, we built our world headquarters that we know today, and it's been a unbelievable experience building something to that level. I bought a 10,000 square foot building,
Ooh.
and we were it's 3 floors, big lounge, bar. We're very blessed in New Hampshire with having what we call the New Hampshire advantage, where we have no tax on cigars. You have no sales tax. We can smoke and drink in the same room, and it's been a very good blessing that we've worked hard at it through our Cigar Association of New Hampshire.
It's a great place to buy cigars and buy booze. That was
Yes.
when we would drive up to see my great grandmother that lived in Maine. My grandfather always made a stop in New Hampshire to pick up boxes of cigars, and he used to drink Gordon's gin of all things, but he would get like 6 liters of Gordon's gin and pack it in his trunk for us to go back. So
yeah, that's accurate. A lot of people do that. You'll see vans full of booze, literally cases and cases. They really load up here in New Hampshire.
Oh yeah.
We got a question from Melanie Cisco, the Cisco kid. She wants to know what you think the key to running a successful retail lounge is.
Well, I don't consider myself a lounge, or our business a lounge. I consider it a tobacconist shop with a lounge, and I do see the lounges all across the country. But, I firmly believe in everyone is welcome. I'm not a big believer in the membership motto or method, unless it just incorporates additional benefits. But everyone's welcome. We have some of the best staff across the country right now. Everybody's very well trained. Tobacconist University. Our bartenders are all exceptional mixologists. We keep a really clean spot, and we just welcome everyone. I've been fortunate to have traveled all around the country and parts of the world and taken all the best from what I've seen and imported it into our place now.
You did. I remember before you opened up. Before I opened up our headquarters, I actually flew to Chicago to look at the first Casa de Monte Cristo in Chicago and check that out. And I remember you happened to be in town. I'm not sure what it was at the time, before you finished your build out or while you were thinking about it and you were looking at stuff here. But that's what I think good people do. We want to learn. We want to learn from other people's what they do and how they build. But
I took some ideas from you, Abe. You're in your walk-in humidor. You have some of the naked cigars on the wall in these octagon shaped holes, I believe, and I made a variation of that, and also
mine was a variation off the Chicago Boys. I mean, that's what that's what you do. But it's one of those things in this industry, and we kind of talked about it with manufacturers. But a lot of retailers are like Kurt and I. Like, I never mind another retailer who wants to learn and ask questions and whatever. And there's a lot of that camaraderie in this industry. I called up the guys in Chicago and said, look, I want to come up. I want to look at your store, see what you did. I heard great things about it. They were very welcoming. And the same thing with Kurt. And I think it's something that's common in our industry more than any other industry, to be honest.
Yeah, it really is. People are very giving, and people come to me all the time as well, and I'm happy to share anything I can, whether it's the best way to do a promotion or successful ways that we've run promotions or whatever it is, from ventilation to bar techniques. We buy a lot of select barrels from around the world for our bar, and I've shared that idea with plenty of people that have taken advantage of that, and it's good to share.
Now, when you say you get select barrels, do you get to travel to the distilleries and pick your barrel, or does somebody from your shop? That's cool.
Well, right now it's hard to do, and we've selected probably 3 barrels during these last 6 months where we haven't been able to travel. But I've been to Tennessee plenty of times, Kentucky, and we make an annual trip to Mexico and fly into Guadalajara. We make a like a 5-day trip out of it, and we visit all the distilleries in Jalisco, and we buy tequila, and that's some of the best experiences I've ever had. That's a really good trip. We have some good connections there to get into distilleries and buy from Patron, Casa Noble,
Wow.
Herradura, and so it gives us unique items to have in our own locations, which drive people in to experience that.
Now, earlier in the show, you're a tequila guy, right?
Yes.
I think I heard that somewhere. Your tequila is your libation of choice.
Right now it is.
What was it before?
I was always a bourbon guy. I enjoy good bourbons, and we bought plenty of barrels of that. But with this tequila experience, most people don't understand tequila, and they think about the old days of doing shots of Cuervo Gold and getting banged up and throwing up. Well, that's not what tequila is all about. It's actually one of the cleanest spirits that I've ever experienced. To learn what tequila is, from the Blanco or the Silver to Reposado, Añejo, Extra Añejo, it's a great experience to learn all that. But to sip on good tequila in the proper glassware, and it's unbelievable. I can't get away from it. I've turned hundreds of people onto it that have really got to enjoy it themselves.
Now, you got a question, Paul? I keep giving you a moment, and then you wait till I say something. I gave you a whole 5 seconds to start your question. You didn't say nothing as soon as I opened my mouth.
No, tequila is, as I've gotten older, because I used to love it, and then I steered away from it for a while. And now I'm starting to, as I find different tequilas that I can enjoy and sip, like you're saying, now I'm starting to enjoy it more. But I have some friends that are these hardcore tequila guys. Like, I would consider myself more of a bourbon guy as well. And it is a spirit that you can relax and enjoy and not do shots. And everybody has that mentality. But I think it's in the past couple of years, it's also just become more appreciated, like you're saying, is people are now starting to enjoy some of these micro distilleries that make this ultra premium tequila that's out there. So it's definitely become more enjoyable for me. I mean, my wife is a huge tequila fan, so I've been forced into it anyway.
Eric Espinosa just said tequila sucks balls.
That's
classy.
That's not surprising, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have a sit down, Eric.
Believe me. You have to educate him.
Yeah.
You have to educate him.
He's a whiskey guy. And rum, right?
Eric, come to New Hampshire. We'll convert you.
I think Eric. Yeah, I think I've only seen Eric drink whiskey. I can't even remember what Eric drinks. I remember seeing him drink anything other than maybe just straight whiskey out of glass.
He was drinking whiskey the other night on your live event.
Yeah, he was drinking Uncle Nearest the other night.
Yeah. Oh, Pappy. He got his collection of Pappy. That's right.
There you go.
His world famous collection of Pappy. So we're gonna talk a little bit more about the 724 brand in the second half of the show. So I want to touch base on a couple things. First off, we were talking about this great life and thing. I just watched you have like a 5-day feeding fest with Rocky Patel on social media. I mean, you guys were like cooking up a storm.
Oh yeah.
I saw pasta. I saw ribeyes. I mean, I just saw everything going. And Rocky took over your kitchen from what I was watching.
He did.
Peppers. I mean, like everything.
Yeah, he did. He came up here and visited for a few days, and we ate and drank and smoked like kings, and really enjoyed the company that we got together with, and had a great time. And Rocky's an incredible, very passionate guy in the kitchen. And
now, I've heard his story. I've never had his cooking, but I heard Rocky is a culinary guy. Like, he cooks, like, he is serious about his cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah, he said on the show during COVID, he's been really experimenting in the kitchen, but he doesn't just make like, burgers or anything like that. Like, he like classical cuisine he cooks. Apparently.
So look, in classic, David Portnoy fashion here, we need a score Rocky's culinary skills on a 10-point scale.
I'd say,
don't be a
his
rookie.
culinary skills
No
in the
rookie
kitchen.
scores.
No rookie
Wait.
scores. Don't be a rookie.
Let's see.
I'd say between the cooking and actual cleanup, which he
He
participated
cleaned up
in.
too. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That
I
mean,
counts.
That's like
points up.
yeah, that's
All
like
right,
a
so
half a point right there.
Watching him from the grocery store, which was hilarious, getting all these things. He was buying things that I'd never heard of. Most of the ingredients I had never heard of. But he was buying the grocery store trip, the actual cooking, and then the cleaning.
Wow.
I would have to say I'd give him an 8.5 for sure.
Wow.
Okay.
8.5. 8.5. It's a good score.
Legitimate score. It's a good score. 8.5. I got to tell you what. See, you got Rocky Patel. I got Eric Espinosa. Why do I feel like I got the short end of the stick?
Wait a minute.
I mean, seriously.
Wait. I've done some fine culinary cooking at your house.
You have done great Sunday, great
my sausage and peppers is
no. But we're just talking manufacturers here.
I've experienced Eric's cooking as well. So
yeah, I got the short end of the stick. I got hard pasta.
Rock hard.
Yeah, overcooked filet, and you guys had a culinary experience.
Well, Rocky's sausage recipe came from Philadelphia.
I heard.
Anthony. Yeah,
I heard he actually said
cooked
that
in
on
the
Facebook.
oven with a bottle of wine, and it was very unique and very good. We did that for the football games.
Wow.
We made pizza on the grill. We did the steaks, pasta. He cooked breakfast a couple mornings, and I cooked breakfast a couple mornings. I took Rocky to like where I live here. It's very rural, and there's a lot of farms around me. So Rocky and I got my old '66 Chevrolet pickup. We went and hit some of the farms, and we bought fresh eggs and bacon and some vegetables. And he couldn't believe, he probably hasn't done a lot of that, driving through the countryside, hitting farms. And so we met a farmer that day, and Rocky didn't go with me that trip. And I bought some eggs, and the farmer invited us up. He's like, I'm going to show you one of the nicest bars in New Hampshire. So I grabbed Rocky after the Green Bay game, and we drove up to his house, and the guy opened up this giant barn door, and we walk into like the Mecca bar of New Hampshire that this farmer built for entertaining his buddies. And we had a personal
bar. It's his
personal bar.
Personal bar, post and beam barn, and it was incredible. We didn't want to leave.
Wow. Now, can I safely assume there was no curry that weekend?
No curry at all.
No curry dishes. I'm curious if Rocky cooks any traditional food in his culinary,
Well,
endeavor.
I've seen Hamish cook some of the traditional food in Honduras.
At
his house.
Okay.
But none up here. I was actually looking forward to that because I wanted to taste some, but it didn't happen.
So before we head on to the second half show, I'd like to bring up Jennifer, if you don't mind, because I had the pleasure of meeting her down here once, who's your much better looking half, we'll call it that, right? How long have you guys been together?
We've been together about 3 years.
Now, I'm just curious because, I've known you much longer than 3 years, and I only honestly had the pleasure of interacting with her for a very short period of time when you guys were visiting down here, and we became friends on Facebook. And she's very inspirational and spiritual on her posts, and a lot of that gaga goo stuff turns me off. But actually, I think I messaged her once. I said, I just want you to know, normally, I don't like any of those kind of posts. I love your posts. And she seems to be very much about life. Has she been part of the inspiration of this, I need to stop and enjoy life? Because it kind of coincides with the last few years of your life. Has she been your muse, to speak, of sitting back and smelling the roses and, starting to enjoy life a little more? Because I could totally see that being an effect on you.
Well, she's sitting a few feet away from me, and I would have to say that she has been a huge inspiration in that. And we try to inspire each other through, she's an entrepreneur herself, and and we share ideas, and we share a lot of relaxation time. We share this lake behind us. We do a lot of boating and just cooking and relaxing. And it's hard to leave here and go to work when she's sitting here, and I get this beautiful scenery around me. It's hard to get back. This whole COVID situation has been I don't know if it's selfish to call it a blessing for me personally to actually relax a bit and smell the roses, regroup, and she's been a big help and part of that for sure.
Good for you, man. You're a lucky guy.
She's awesome. I talked to her for like a half hour yesterday. She's just a cool person.
Yeah,
well,
she told me you were talking nerd talk, and
he is a nerd. Paul's a semi-creeper. Be careful, Kurt.
Yeah.
I'm a happily married man.
I didn't say you're unfaithful. I said you're a creeper. Well, there's a big difference.
What does that mean?
You get infatuated with certain people, and then you want to know everything about them.
You don't like to talk to beautiful women? She's a lovely person. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's cool. You don't like to talk to people like that?
You creep Adam.
Oh, Adam is fascinating.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
Fascinating is never a word I heard anyone mention the same
How
sentence.
does a person like that exist and survive in society? That's my question.
He doesn't exist in society. That's
sure
how.
He does. He's still around. He does things.
Is he?
Well, he's not here.
I mean, I don't know. Seriously, listen, he took an employee vacation. Right? I didn't even know he was gone. Where's Adam? Oh, he left yesterday. Oh, really? Okay. He was gone for 2 days before I even realized he was gone.
Oh, yeah, I don't know where he went.
Adam works below society. He's subversive and just gets by. But that's the universe he lives in. But you're a creeper. Adam infatuates you. You want to start you want to get him on a date. You want to follow him home. You want to do
I want to do a reality show about his life.
Yeah.
Because it's
Kurt,
not normal.
Don't let him talk to Jennifer too much.
Jen Block.
Yes. Totally.
DEG.
Totally, man. Oh my God. I'm trying to read all the comments. I can't keep up.
We're posting them.
I need to get a screen up here so I got to find some way to mount something on top of my computer. Because every time I look, I feel like everybody's always looking at the top of my head. If
we do a dual screen for you, you could actually do that. Put two screens.
Yeah.
I could do that with your iPad, Abe. I do it on my computer.
I never really thought about it because I'm always looking on my phone. But I could probably just pull it up the video on another window on my big monitor. Duh.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you have one of those giant Mac monitors.
Yeah. Learn something new every day. All right. Well, listen, Kurt, we're going to take a small break. Just to help pay for our show. We're going to bring you a nice 60-minute video from Altadis USA. And we're going to have more at the top of the hour with Kurt Kendall of Twins with an S Smoke Shop and 724 Cigars. We're going to go more in depth into the brand and that company right after this. Keep it lit.
Hola a todos. Mi nombre es Elmer Suárez, de la Flor de Copán en Honduras.
My name is Ernesto Kranwinkel and I'm from La Romana, Dominican Republic.
Hola, mi nombre es Diana, soy de Manizales, Colombia.
Días, Freddy Molina desde Estelí, Nicaragua.
Hola amigos, saludos a todos. María Santis, orgullosa de ser puertorriqueña.
Cheers, I'm Oliver, I'm from London, England.
I love H. Upmann Añejo.
My favorite H. Upmann Dominican cigar is the H. Upmann Banker.
My favorite H. Upmann cigar is the Hermannsbach.
My favorite H. Upmann is the H. Upmann by A.J. Fernandez.
Mi cigarro favorito es H. Upmann Española.
I highly recommend you try the H. Upmann 175th anniversary, awarded number 10 cigar of 2019.
One world, together with H. Upmann.
Surgeon General warning: cigars are not a safe alternative to cigarettes.
Welcome back. Honest Abe here with KMA Talk Radio Live with the crew, our Southpaw from Philly, Alex Tavella, and Paul DeGracco, live still from on the island.
Yeah, on Long Island.
Still on
It's
the
on,
island.
not in, right? On,
That's
not
right.
in.
On the island. God forbid you say, in, but on the island. And from his lovely lakeside view, Kurt Kendall of Twin Smoke Shop and 724 Cigars. Now, I see the boat behind you. Now, look, when I first learned of who you were, because, I have a graphic background. I had my own little graphic business before I moved to Florida. And I remember when I first learned about who you were, at that time, because there really wasn't a lot of creative ads in our industry. It was all the same thing, a stick shot with a box, or it was all the archaic, standard, I've seen it a million times. And then I see this ad of this guy on a muscle car with this huge, I think it was a pit bull or a Doberman.
Rottweiler,
yeah. Huge dog. And I'm like, this is a great ad. And I didn't even know about your shop at the time. I just thought it was a great ad. Now, at what point when you're doing retail, do you say to yourself, okay, I want to make a brand? I imagine you came across the name because you're into collector. You collect antiques and you search out all this stuff. I've seen pictures of some of the stuff. Did the idea of the brand come out first, or did you come across a collectible of the history of the cigar company, and did that inspire the cigar? Which came first?
Yeah, the collectibles definitely came first. I've been as an adult, lifetime collector of memorabilia and advertising, mostly signs. And I started running across these 724 cigar items. At that point, I realized that the 724 Cigar Factory, which is in Manchester, New Hampshire, and started there in 1874, was still standing. And I started putting the two and two together with the collectibles, the history of the brand, and then the building. And I remember just driving down to Manchester and sitting in the parking lot and just staring at this factory that still had the signage on it. And between that and the collection of memorabilia, and then learning some of the really cool history of the brand, being a retail tobacconist, I just thought, how cool would it be to bring this brand back to the market? It really deserves that because it had been gone for over 50 years.
And you said to me, I believe, Kurt, that weren't they the largest manufacturer of cigars? Tell me the factoid, because I'm going to get it wrong, but they were one of the largest manufacturers of cigars, correct?
Well, in what I've seen advertised and written 1,000 times, the first year they were in business in 1874, they made 15,000 cigars. By the mid-20s and late 20s, they were claiming to make 80 million cigars a year, being the largest 10-cent cigar manufacturer in the world.
Wow.
So they had built a seven-story state-of-the-art factory right in the center of Manchester, New Hampshire. Roger Sullivan, who created it, was the largest taxpayer in the United States. And
Really?
a lot of cool facts about the company and the gentleman. And I had heard what a good person he was, and for the community and giving, and and I'm thinking, man, I got to bring the brand back. And I really, although I've never met him, obviously, I want to be more like him. So it all kind of clicked together, and I kicked the tire on that, bringing that back for a couple of years until we finally got the trademark, and which I pursued it much faster and to bring it to the market. But I really never intended to be a national brand. I really didn't know what I intended. I just wanted to bring it back. I at least had a venue to sell them in, and through the popularity of the brand locally, it started spreading out, and blessed with a lot of people I've met in the industry over the years at the trade shows, etc. I got it into a few stores, and that's how it grew from there.
Paul, I'm getting a lot of static. Is that just me on my end?
I think it's a little windy by Kurt.
Is that what it is? Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't me on my end.
Yeah, no. I think it's the wind's picking up a little bit over there. But it's okay.
So,
we can hear him clearly.
No, we can hear him clearly. I just didn't know if it was my headset or not.
Yeah.
So, I got to imagine, that's a big change in pace of being in retail, right?
Huge change in pace. And once again, one of those giant entrepreneurial jumps with no parachute, because you don't really know what to expect. And social media is just kind of starting, and, going to my first trade show and marketing that, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. And all of a sudden it started getting some heat, and I'm like, wow, man, I'm really in this. I went to my first trade show and second trade show, and it gained a lot of popularity. And that you had mentioned the dog earlier. We created that Dog Walker series, which is a small format cigar.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Oh, I have actually smoked that cigar. That was a cigar that Adam recommended to me at your shop, Abe.
Actually, honestly, it's one of the reasons why we kind of really sought out that brand. Adam was a huge fan of your brand early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard from Adam several times, and not as much as Matt Booth has, but I've heard from him on occasion.
Yeah, you are one of his favorite brand owners, actually. I'm sure he's on the golf course watching the show right now on whatever his vacation is. Well, one thing I want to talk about before we really get into the brand too is Carlito said, along the lines of antiques. You have a collection of antique cars, correct?
Yes, I do.
How many cars do you have?
I have about usually between 4 and 5, depending on garage space at any given time. But like Abe had mentioned earlier, you see the boat behind me. Over the year, I've had the cars, and I built my, for lack of a better term, small collection of cars and keepers, I call them, that I don't use as much as I used to. And now I'm a little more laid back and relaxed on going out in the boat on the weekends, especially in this time of year. And then in the fall, I tend to get the motorcycle out and, some of the cars. So that's what I really enjoy. I love horsepower and going fast. And I don't know if you saw the video last week with Rocky. We were out in a 38-foot cigarette boat. It was so exhilarating. And it was 1,800 horsepower. And we all got an opportunity to drive that thing that one of my friends has. And what a blast that was.
No, we saw the videos. Yeah, I see you become quite the enthusiast over the last few years. We have a question from one of our fans, Mark. He wants to know if the barber pole, which I'm assuming he's talking about the Dog Walker, maybe the barber pole in general, was that part of an original 724 series tradition?
No, that definitely wasn't. We created the original series of 724, and the second series was the Hustler series. Excuse me. And from a recommendation of a few manufacturers, and especially Nick Perdomo, he told me, Kurt, you're missing the boat. You got to come out with a Connecticut. The people are still Connecticut smokers, and the majority of the sales are still Connecticut. So when we went to the table to create this second blend, we were using the Brazilian Matafina wrapper on the original blend. And I love the characteristic of that Matafina and the aroma and the burn. We wanted to try and incorporate some Connecticut into it. So we tried it in different ways, and the wrapper and binder. And what happened was we had a cigar made, and there were some scraps of tobacco on the table. And one of the guys at the table just kind of rolled that scrap over the top of the cigar and lit it up, kind of as a joke. And he said, wow, this is really good. It almost added a little cream to the coffee. And that's how the Hustler came out. And if Carlito's watching, I was thinking about how many premium cigars are striped. And we didn't have a lot of striped cigars on the market. And you had the Between the Lines, which was the most sought-after cigar of the year. Every year.
Seasonal release.
Yeah, you'd get 1 or 2 boxes, and people would beg for them. And the other striped cigars were either in bundles or as a gimmicky blend. So I gambled and came out with a premium series that was striped, a little bit different than most. and I was so nervous. That trade show floor opened, and the people came in, and the first thing retailers ask you is, "What's new?" And I'm going to tell them that I have a new striped cigar or a barber pole, and I was like, my palms are sweating. I was scared to death, and it actually was very favorable at the trade show that year. It did really well.
Still to date, one of my favorite short, quick smokes. I mean, love this cigar. I'm drawing a blank. I had a question, and now we talked about the barber pole, and I forgot. Broadcast journalism at its finest.
Well, I want to talk about, we want to talk about the brand and how it's evolved. And, Kurt, you and I talked a little bit yesterday. Are you working on new innovations with the brand now? Are you sticking to staples with all that's going on out there? What's the status of 724 right now?
Well, we have 5 series of cigars we've introduced over the last several years.
Yep.
And with all the new FDA rulings that were, over our head, we were sticking to what we've already made. And, I'm a firm believer of quality and not necessarily having something new every week.
Right.
So, over the years, we've introduced new line extensions of the series we have. And we were pretty much sticking with that, instead of having a new flavor every week. Although, you basically have to train your customers and, let them know that it's not all about what's new. It's what's right in front of your face that you might not have enjoyed yet. So, right now we do have a few extensions that we were planning on introducing this year. I'm actually smoking one now. It's our Factory 57 blend. And we introduced a couple new sizes. Same with the Hustler, but for right now, that's what we're focusing on, trying to maintain the quality and consistency of our brand and dabble a few new things in when we can.
Kurt, when you brought the brand back, you started putting it out there, was it recognizable to some people as an older brand, or was this kind of like new to everybody?
That is a good question because in my area where we live in southern New Hampshire, a lot of people know the factory building, and a lot of the old timers know the brand because a lot of their relatives worked there. So throughout the years, their father or grandfather or uncle worked in the factory. So when we introduced it and it was publicized in the local newspaper, people started coming out of the woodwork. And really talking about the brand, and the stories that would come out were amazing, and even more memorabilia and very unique things that I've collected over the years. A lot of the older time cigar salesmen were very familiar with the brand, and a lot of the older retailers because they had it in their stores in years past.
If my memory serves me correctly, did I not come across or find you an antique 724 box?
Well, your memory is good, but it's not perfect because
was it not 24? I can't remember.
You found me another box.
I remember I came across something.
It was like a rip-off of the brand. It was like 7-60-3, and it had a picture of the factory on it.
Yeah, okay.
And it was like mint condition. And you gifted me that when I believe when I came down to Florida for a meeting, and it's in my living room, Abe, right next to some of my other collection.
Yeah, it was like a knockoff, but it had the building. It had your factory image on there.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have a rare and vintage room, and I acquired a lot of antique old. I mean, I think some of them are up here now, and some liquor bottles and minis, and I came across this one like, oh, this is 7. No, it ain't. Those numbers are different. Now I remember. But I couldn't remember exactly what it was. Do you ever know? Did you ever find out what that brand was, or was that anything, or just some one-off knockoff that
I never found out what that one was.
Yeah.
There are a few others, too, with numbers associated to it, and a lot of them came out of Boston. So I'm assuming they would do that in competition with the 724 brand.
Now, how do you balance? I mean, look, pre-COVID life, let's say, how do you balance where you're dedicating your time to? I mean, I am running. I couldn't imagine. I run my retail shops. I can't imagine having to say, oh, now I want to run a distribution of a national brand. I mean,
Yeah.
where do you find the balance for that, or is one more on autopilot than the other?
Well, the retail stores are more on autopilot. I have an excellent staff that,
God bless you.
we're in our 24th year right now. A lot of my employees have been with me 8 and 10 years, and we do have an excellent staff. Although I still worry about it every day because I'm a perfectionist and I like everything spectacular, from the bar and lounge to the retail. Well,
last time you were on Coop, you said you were bar backing. I think in January you were up the night before bar backing, and so you're still involved there.
Oh, I'm still very involved. I do. I do and expect all my employees to basically do whatever it takes, whatever's needed at the time. It's never, this is my job or that's your job. We're all washing and cleaning windows, and if you got to be the bar back that day, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
If you're fortunate enough to be busy enough to have to bar back, it's a blessing. So that's the way it goes. We do whatever we can. But, pre-COVID, I'm trying to figure out how to maintain a national brand of cigars and maintain a sales force and maintain a national sales manager and travel and be out on the road yourself and the retail stores. It's very difficult.
I can't imagine.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
How many retail doors are you in currently?
Well, it's hard to believe, but over the years, we've opened over 800 accounts.
That's huge.
It's huge. Right now, we're maintaining probably about 20 to 25% of that on a as regular customers.
Consistent basis. So let me ask you.
I've realized that traveling the entire United States, trying to maintain the sales force and doing that is a big job. So we focus more on individual areas rather than trying to be the guy going to Washington State and down to Florida, and it's too tough for the amount that we have on our plate.
It's not easy being a Rocky Patel like back in the day. That's a whole different life. So, I just curious question: do any one of your retail customers sell more 724 than your shop?
That's a great question.
Is there a customer out there you have that does more business on your brand than the Twin Smoke Shop?
No.
Okay.
There definitely is not. We're pretty fortunate, and even though initially people would buy the brand in our retail stores because it was Kurt's brand, that doesn't necessarily go as far anymore, and
it doesn't last forever. That doesn't last forever. Your clients or your fan base will come out and will try anything once. If you're involved in it, they're loyal. But if it can't stand and doesn't keep their interest and it's not something they genuinely enjoy, that ride is over short. It's a short ride. That's a quick.
Yeah. I believe in our product, and the product speaks for itself pretty much. If you present it properly, and your sales force does its job properly, and the staff of the retail store is educated and knows how to speak of it intelligently, the brand will perform. So I've said that story 1,000 times, trying to do business with other quality retailers that understand that process. But eventually, the brand has to stand on its own, and retail shelf space is very valuable, as we all know. So unless you have the combination of all those things, the brand can't really have great success in certain stores. So trying to manage all those characteristics for our brand is very challenging.
Yeah, I can see that. We have another Ask KMA question, Abe.
Yeah, I saw that from Hector. I was looking at it. My screen went blank. I was just on my phone looking at it. Hector wanted to know, where are your cigars made now?
Well, most of our cigars are made in Honduras and Nicaragua at the Plasencia factories. So Tabacos de Oriente makes, I think, three of our series, and their Nicaraguan factory makes one of our series, the 1874 series, and then we use Raíces Cubana factory to make our newest WK series.
Now, how did you choose those places for the cigars? Because that's always interesting, right? There's a lot of great places, where cigars be made. What was your determining factors on figuring out who you wanted to work with?
Well, I've been working with Alan Rubin, Dave Topper, and Ralph Montero since the beginning. And those guys have been my mentors in building my brand. They blessed me with all of the things that they've built over the years and handed me the keys to their success. So they've helped me manage all the manufacturing and brought me to the Plasencia family. And that's how that all started, including the Raíces. So, they've been a big part of my brand, and I actually, consider them partners in my brand, as a friendship and family. They've done a lot for me.
Now, Dave Topper, you mentioned Dave Topper. Dave Topper is another guy who's been in this industry forever. I can't even remember if he was one of the original people. I think he was, because when I met all the people from Carib imported cigars back in the day. But he's been in the business industry forever. He's a broker. He's a broker up in your area. And doesn't he have his own brand? Topper Cigars or
his
something?
His family had another old brand called Topper Cigars.
Yeah, Topper Cigars.
They were big. They were some of the original broadleaf brands, and they were based out of Connecticut. And I'm not sure if Dave's ever actually had a job outside of the tobacco industry, because he's worked for his family's cigar brand, and then he became a sales representative for some of the biggest cigar brands in the country, and then become a broker.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time. We got to ask KMA a question. Living in New Hampshire, and Kurt being a car guy, have you ever gone to Team O'Neill Rally School?
No, I've never been, and I'm not familiar with it.
I was hoping you'd educate us on what it was, because I don't know what it was either.
I thought maybe it was an inside joke. I was like, I don't know, maybe this is somebody's messing with us or something.
Is Coop in a new room?
He's in a new virtual. The laundry basket's gone.
Well, we can bring him up now. There he is. Coop, what the hell is that background?
It's actually a mountain lodge from Nevada.
So now you
just go with that.
Now you're just using random backdrops.
Yeah, we're still changing it up a bit. We want to keep things fresh and innovative here. It's kind of hard for me to kind of go back into the rooms of the house, because I've set up now things in this studio here. So it's unless I break the equipment down, and I have to reset it back up. And Paul called me.
Coop.
Saying,
you can be honest and tell us that the wife won't let you set up in the other rooms anymore.
Oh no! You want it next week? It will be next week. I just have to listen. Man, this is not no. This is how it works here. Those rooms are meant to be used by me. So.
Wow! Look at Coop stepping up.
Paul DeGracco is the last man I know in my universe who should be busting anybody's balls about not being able to do something because of his wife.
Pumpkin Spice Paul.
Pumpkin Spice Paul.
Pumpkin Spice Paul.
That's the name. Bro.
That is it.
Dude, I will make
no
arguments about it. I love Pumpkin Spice.
Through October.
Listen, me and Chrissy Critchfield love our Pumpkin Spice, man, or whatever. I'm man enough to talk about it. Although I had the Dunkin' Donuts Pumpkin Spice this week. It's way too sweet.
Do you like pumpkin spice everything or just coffee?
I'm trying to think. I love pumpkin beer. I've been drinking a lot of pumpkin beer since we've been here. There's a lot of microbreweries on Long Island now. And we went out to Jamesport. Shout out to the Jamesport Brewery, even though they wouldn't allow people under 21, so my kids couldn't come in. I went in on my own and got some pumpkin beer. Yeah, I like pumpkin beer. I don't know that I have that much other pumpkin spiced. You know, I'm not like on that craze where I need everything pumpkin spiced, but I like a pumpkin spice latte maybe once a week. You know, I get a little bit less flavoring in it because I don't like it super sweet like you, Abe.
Maybe a bath soap.
Yeah, right.
No,
Listen, Kurt, be honest. Being a big muscle car guy, you know, New Hampshire, what sentiment or feelings do the phrase pumpkin spice bring out inside?
Well, I'm not sure I can use the term that came to my head initially, but it would be you know, no pumpkin spice comes to my mind ever.
Does that not automatically qualify him for being a cat person right there? That's why he's a cat person. That's a category.
Right, yeah.
I think like if you look at pumpkin spice people, it's correlates a lot to cat people.
You could call me a
pumpkin
cat
spice,
person.
Karen's cat people.
I own possibly the manliest dog in the world. I have a husky pit bull.
Listen, that's
and then I also have a Chihuahua.
Don't lie.
No,
that's Stephanie.
No,
don't
that
lie.
dog is mine.
Don't lie.
That dog is mine.
Don't lie.
The Chihuahua is Stephanie's.
The Chihuahua is your dog, and if you were a real Italian, you would have had a Greyhound.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to say, as an Italian, it's gravy.
Coop.
It's gravy.
Thank you,
macaroni.
Coop.
It's
Thank you
macaroni
very
and
much,
gravy.
Coop.
That's what you have.
Macaroni and gravy.
Macaroni
Everything
and
is
gravy.
macaroni,
Thank you.
everything is gravy.
Okay. Now hold on.
Thank you, Coop.
Yeah.
Once again, I didn't know you were Italian. Are you Italian, William?
I'm Italian. I'm half Italian. My wife's all Italian.
Okay. The Italian was your mother?
Yes.
Okay. Because unless it used to be Cooperlini or whatever, Cooper just didn't bring out the Italian in you.
Here's where it gets more complicated. My dad is Jewish, but there was an adoption, and that's how the Cooper name came in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But just so you know, Abe, a lot of famous Coopers, like with the last name Cooper, are Italian, and when they came over here at South Island, they changed
it. Unless it changed.
Yeah,
it
like
happens.
Pat Cooper, his name was like Cupliano or something
Yes,
weird like that.
It happens. That's why. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have never guessed it.
Just so you know, I have Italian on both sides. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm about 3/4 Italian and a quarter Alsace-Lorrainian.
We're not questioning the authenticity of your Italian heritage. We're just all agreeing that you're like the least Italian person I've ever met.
I'm an American.
In Long Island, it's sauce. Sauce is the word used in Long Island, but it's not correct.
In or on?
But it's not correct.
It should be on. It should be on.
Yeah.
Well, Coop's
Sauce
from Brooklyn.
on Long Island.
So Coop's from Brooklyn. So even though they are part of the same landmass, they don't consider themselves part of Long Island.
Correct.
But when people not from Long Island see, or not from New York see them together, they're like, oh, Queens and Brooklyn are part of Long Island. Yeah. I mean, physically they are.
But it's Nassau and Suffolk County, which are considered the Long Island.
That is correct. That is correct.
Educate him, Coop. Educate him.
Macaroni and gravy.
Ugh.
It's hoagie.
And hoagie, yes.
And hoagie, yeah.
That's not a New York thing.
Is that hoagie versus sub? Is that what that is?
Sub or hero or whatever other.
Yeah, we call it hero.
They use wedge up in New England, actually.
Yeah, I think sub is a Midwest thing.
Yeah, we call it a hero here.
I totally now it's out of my system. But like when I first moved here, like everybody looked at me crazy when I would say pop.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, that's a Midwest. That's a
Midwest. Now just me saying pop sounds weird.
Well, wait a second, Kurt. Up in New Hampshire, do they call it pop?
No, they call it. Well, when I first moved here, they called it tonic or tonic.
For a
you
Coke?
want a tonic?
For a Coke?
Or they'd say, yeah.
Wow.
Or they'd say, do you want a Coke? And I'd say, sure. They'd say, well, what kind do you want? Like a Coke with a Sprite or a Mountain Dew but I think what I hear mostly is soda.
Yeah, that's what we grew up saying.
And
but
sub.
I know some people from like Maine and Massachusetts call it pop.
Really? Up in the East?
Yeah.
I just thought it was a Midwest thing. I never really heard it outside the Midwest. But now,
welcome to the show, dog.
Oh yeah, there he is. Look.
Yeah.
That's Basil the dog.
That's an Italian name.
Absolutely.
Basil
Yeah.
Lugosi.
Abe, I think you're muted.
He keeps hitting the button.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one on my stupid thing. I lean up against it. I shut it off.
His hip always bumps into it.
No, it's my fat gut against the table rubbing on it.
I was being nice.
Yes, don't be nice at my expense. Don't worry. Don't be nice at my expense.
So we got the scoop with Coop going on right now. Coop, Coop, you just you had Kurt on your show not too long ago. I think it was January, right?
I think it was actually, it was right around. It was I think right before that, like towards the holidays. It was.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess we should find out what the scoop is. What do you got going on this week?
There are a few news articles this week. I'm curious to see what Coop's going to talk about.
One of them is a big deal for Coop, right? Like you had an anniversary this week, or what did you say? 3,000.
Yeah, it was a milestone. Cigar Coop's a daily publication, and Cigar Coop hit the 3,000th consecutive day of publishing original content.
That's pretty awesome, man.
It's less than 10 years. We had the 10-year anniversary, but that's another one, and it's a big deal because that streak is probably going to come to an end soon. I don't know how much more I could do it. It kind of lived through a near-death experience. Even I got that through.
We saw you right in the middle of it, right in the start of it, actually.
Yeah. So it's something I'm pretty proud of because I've seen media sites come and go. I see media sites fall off the grid. And I see a lot who do really good work, but 3,000 days, and it's original content. We're not rinsing and recycling old content. So that's the other thing I'm really proud of as well.
You know, it's funny, Coop. I was talking with a friend last night. Actually, we were here at the office about 12:30, and I was talking about how about 10, 12 years ago, because I've always interacted with most of the media early on, right? And I used to have this thing where I advertised with almost everybody, right? And it wasn't that many people when you go back 15 years, 14 years, whatever it is. But, and I always do this thing where all the renewal rates, I would make them start on May 1st. So if I started advertising with somebody in September, I'd prorate it because I only wanted to deal with the newers. And I started thinking about all the people that I used to advertise with, Toasted Foot, A Cigar Smoker, Tom Cigars. I can't even remember some of them.
Site? You're
going back to that's bulletin boards.
Before that, okay.
Yeah, you just went back like you warp speed back past media guys. They're gone. Most of them are gone. I mean, there's a whole new plethora of new people, but a lot of these guys who were there in the beginning have disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, the people you mentioned were the prominent sites when I started.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Toasted Foods, the A Cigar Smokers, the Cigar Sport. Yeah.
There was like 16 of them. I remember because every May, I can't even remember their names. I'd have to pull up the files.
Right.
But I mean, they're all gone because as the years went by, it became 14, 12, 10, 6, 4, and I think now we only deal with 2 or 3.
It's changed a lot for sure. I think there's guys out there who have been out. Dojo's been out there I think for about 8 years now, so he's been out there for a while.
I gotta believe you Cigar Obsession, because I know Cigar Obsession is well over 12 years.
Yeah, he's been around a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, you Cigar Obsession. I noticed. I didn't even realize I had to go and check. Stogie Review is still around. I didn't even recognize their site. It might have been the first time but that used to be run by like 4 or 6 guys, right?
Yeah, it's really down to 2 right now. And, they don't, let's say, publish as regularly as they used to, which is a shame because I like those guys a lot and they've done a good job. Other guys like the Stogie guys used to be a daily site. They're not really a daily site anymore.
No.
Half Wheel's been around as long as I have. So they've been around a long time.
Anyway, Half Wheel was a spin-off of another one that became Half Wheel. What was it originally? It
was a merger between Cigar Feed and Smoking Stogie. So they merged.
Right.
Yeah.
There's 2 that merged. Then I got them all in my head. I'm telling you, 90% of them are gone.
No, most of them are gone. It's a
thankless job, right, Coop?
Oh, thankless.
I mean, we're seeing it right now with the whole podcast movement in the cigar industry. Like,
oh yeah,
a lot of people started podcasts. A lot of them have fallen off, and they realize how much work it is. So,
I want
and
to bring
that's
up
usually what
something-
happens in anything.
I want to bring up something about it being a thankless job to your STFU show the other night, which I'll be honest, when I first saw that you were doing it, I was like, are we just going to watch Bear and Coop smoke these cigars and tell us which ones are the double sweet? But it was actually great. You did the Sakaology, you brought up a lot of facts, and Saka was relentlessly posting during your entire show.
Yeah. Well, here's what made it really interesting, and Steve was supposed to do the live cast that night to reveal it, right? He moved it to October 1st, but he decided to do a live cast that night. Now, I honestly think that was just him scheduling it. I don't think he had, there's a ton of media guys he still deals with, ton of things. I don't think he remembered we were doing something that night, but he was like right up against us, right?
Yeah.
So I put a message in his chat room like, hey, thank you, Steve. We thank you very much for doing this the same time as we did. He felt bad. He sent everyone over to us afterwards. So it really turned out to be good. And I was just having a little fun with it. I didn't think at all it was anything, malintent there.
So you said something that he has brought up several times now in other posts. You did the game that you play on the show is one must go. So you
one must go, right?
You usually pick 3 things, and if
why can't my producer think of shit like this?
I know,
God,
terrible.
you suck, Paul.
But wait, listen to this. So usually you pick 3 things, and then you say one thing must
I love
go
that.
if shit's a fan. And you guys picked all of the Saka lineups, all of the cigars, and you said, going through it methodically, to be honest, that Sin Compromiso would be the cigar that would have to go. And let me tell you, I mean, I pay attention to a lot of Saka's posts. I think it's 3 times outside of the show that he's mentioned, and he's like an unnamed podcast show has said that Sin Compromiso needs to go. Here's why it should stay. Like I've seen in a couple of his comments. And it was kind of like if all else fails and he had to get rid of it. Obviously, he's not getting rid of Sin Compromiso, but you have a good relationship with Saka, but that kind of stuff, it kind of wears on you a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a question that we put out. Bear actually came up with that question, and I signed off on it, so it wasn't like I didn't know it was coming.
Right.
And Saka will be the first one to tell you. He says you can't like every cigar of his because then you won't love any of his cigars. That's an expression from him, and I said it on the show. I said Sin Compromiso is still better than a lot of cigars out there.
Right.
So I mean, and I think there was some great cigars out there as well. Now I did invite Saka to come on my show. I haven't heard back from him yet, so he might be a little salty on it.
I was going to ask because like I said, he's mentioned it a few times. But,
yeah. So
you guys made the comment that Sin Compromiso smokers are not on Facebook, but I chimed in there. That's actually one of my go-to cigars of his. I don't necessarily know why. I don't have a refined enough palate to know why.
It's your go-to cigar because you get the Smoke Inn employee discount. Otherwise, it would never be your go-to cigar. Don't lie.
No,
it's like
I bought one at full retail here at the Babylon shop, the village headquarters.
I'm sure you did, but I guarantee you it hasn't been your go-to smoke up in Babylon.
Yeah, when I saw how much it was, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
So back to the scoop with Coop. Coop, what do you got in the stories this week?
So I'll kick off with this one, and this one was a pretty controversial thing I put out there yesterday. McAuliffe Cigars, they're a company based in Texas.
I was wondering if you were going to bring up this article. This one's interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they made a pretty interesting announcement this week that they were ending their relationship with Cigars International, Thompson Cigar, and their distribution on Meyer & Dutch, which is something you don't hear companies often do.
I don't think I remember ever seeing that publicly stated. It may have happened.
Right, it's happened, I know, but
they never publicly... It's happened from manufacturers.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever in my career seen. Have you ever remember any brand manufacturer making a press release about that, Kurt?
No, never.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen somebody make a press release about it.
It was a ballsy move. I've taken some heat on it because people are mistaken what their statement is for my opinion, which I don't have an opinion one way or another on this. It's news as far as I'm concerned. And actually, I just ran and printed the statement from McAuliffe, which I normally don't do, because I expected to get some pushback on this. Now, I think a lot of what's been driving that decision is McAuliffe, and there are really some good people there, but they had some struggles in the brick and mortar segment, and they basically, I think there was some serious challenges they had there. And at the beginning of the year, they kind of laid out a whole strategy, and part of the strategy was going to be to kind of win back the brick and mortars. I mean, what better way to do that than kind of obviously making a statement like this? So it was a surprising thing. I didn't expect to ever get something like that from a company before, and I went with it.
Why are you getting backlash? I don't understand that on any level, because as far as I'm concerned, there are only a handful of real legitimate media people.
Right.
There's tons of guys doing it, but legitimate, and you all have your special traits, right?
Right.
You I always consider the most legitimate journalist out of anybody that we deal with or have a relationship with. You are a purist in form. You are a journalist. How you approach things, how you handle things, I believe is in the spirit of true journalism. Eric and the guys in Dojo really have the social,
the fun
lifestyle. I forget what the word I'm looking for is, but basically the lifestyle kind of society, their own society thing down. And I think Brian Glynn has mastered the art of doing the solid review, the unadulterated. I listen. I think his reviews, that's where his specialty is. So you being a journalist, why would people take it out on you? You're just reporting the news.
Well, the problem is that bloggers or podcasters, whatever you want to call it, were lumped in with influencers. So the guys like me and Charlie, who were doing more hardcore news, we're still lumped in with the influencers, like the Cigar Props, like to some extent the Dojos. Not that there's anything wrong with influencing, but it's a different type of thing. So I think when you do something like this, it's very anti-influencing, because how can you print anything like that? That's kind of negative to the industry. Well, reporting news isn't necessarily always meant to give the good news all the time. Sometimes we have to deliver this. This statement was going to go to someone else if it didn't go to me, and I had to take advantage of it. And like I said, I tried to be as fair as possible. I delineated this, saying this is from McAuliffe, and I stand by. If I got the opportunity to do it again, I'd do it again. And that's what it is.
Coop's like the old school news guys.
Purist.
He takes it very seriously. He's a purist, But that's how you can trust what comes from him.
Coop and I had a little debate with some of the other guys on Battle of the Bands, the guys in the Battle of the Bands thing, and it was fun, and I had a good time with it.
It was.
But, my joke was #TooPurist. He's a true purist. I mean, he's a hardcore.
So let me say something about that, not to get into the details, but there's a lot I've learned from this contest about retail that I did not understand 6 weeks ago when this started.
Well,
so it's been a learning experience for me.
Look,
and a good one. I'm looking at positive,
It's been a lot of fun. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
What happened was, I think with the Battle of the Bands, and look, I think at one point your samplers showed some light of some real contention, and then a couple of the other guys have just blown blind. I think now we're at a 3-man race going into the final week of this.
I'm happy where I am. 12%.
Listen, it's been an experience and it's fun, but I think originally how it evolved in my head was this was going to be, let's just make something, throw it out there, and it would just run on its own. It wasn't going to become this marketing, which made it 10 times more fun, right? But we've learned this has been a great beta, and I think Battle of the Bands 2, which will be sometime next year, is going to be a more rounded, well developed, and we're going to have more of an exact focal point of what it's going to be about. But it's kind of been an experience for everybody involved, and it's been fun, and we're coming toward the end of it. That's one of the things I think this went on too long, because now the numbers have gotten to where the meters are barely moving. They tick 1 point here, 1 point there over the course of days, because the numbers are getting so high. It takes a lot of samplers to actually move the meter at this point. But it's definitely been one of the funnest projects we've been involved with, and we've had a lot of fun.
What's really fascinating about it is the guy Emmett from Blind Man's Pup, who's in last place. I actually think he's got one of the better samplers out there. I mean, I actually think he's got one of, and he's in last place. That's kind of showing what this thing has turned into, or maybe
it became
how
a
people go
marketing.
into
It became
it
a
did,
marketing.
Yeah. It did,
It became who could market better, and that wasn't the initial intention.
No.
The initial intention was it wasn't. But it kind of evolved because you guys all put a lot of hard effort. Now we're getting on a tangent. I don't want to make this a Battle of the Bands episode.
Right.
We'll discuss this more October 5th, but we'll discuss it more October 5th. But it evolved, it changed, and it was a good learning experience. And I think all the parties involved had a lot of fun doing it. I've already seen our Battle of the Bands shirts hitting the streets, and people posting pictures.
People are asking about him now in the comments.
Oh,
I think that guy was looking for a KMA shirt.
Yeah.
KMA is
KMA geared.
But yeah, Battle of the Bands was run and done. They're gone. We made them custom order for anybody who wanted one. So, look, I think this move by McAuliffe, it's been done. So, and honestly, as a guy who's been in the business 25 years, it's been done successfully. What people don't realize is, look, there's a symbiotic, and if you don't mind, I'll get into it a little bit, Coop. We got time.
No,
there's a symbiotic circle of life in this industry. And the need for these major companies like Famous, Thompson Cigars International is not really in building a brand. The need in the relationships is unless they know how to really manage inventory and not get caught where, hey, I have $200,000 of inventory, it's not moving somewhere, I need an outlet. That's where that part of the ecosystem comes in, right? Because the average retailer can't say, oh yeah, I'll take your last $250,000 of this product you're not moving, but those guys will do it on a drop of a dime. So a lot of these companies need that outlet because they haven't found a way to survive without having that. But if you look at what they do, and if you look at what all the brick and mortars across the country do, a lot of the manufacturers have realized that there's equal or more business in the brick and mortars. And the problem with the big companies like CI is when if I overbuy on something that doesn't move, oh my God, I'm sitting on 15 boxes. What are we going to do? Yeah, it's an easily solvable problem. We have a hot weekly deal, and it's gone. When you're sitting on $250,000 of something that's not moving, it's problematic. So then the option becomes we're going to blow it out at cost or below cost to get it out of the warehouse. And then they destroy a lot of brands that way, and then they long-term destroy relationship with the brick and mortars because when you've made me buy your brand and put it in my store, and then these big companies got it online for like $15 under what I paid for it, why do I want to carry your brand in the store? So theoretically, what McAuliffe has done, I've seen work for a lot of manufacturers long-term, is just that will they find a way to be able to survive without having that outlet to move things that may not move well or things that get overloaded on? They'll have to learn how to manage their inventory properly to be successful at it, in my opinion. But I think it could be their long-term benefit if executed properly.
I agree. I think that's what I would say on that too. They have a very creative team in there right now at McAuliffe that they brought in over the last year. So they kind of have been thinking out of a lot of the box just from my interactions with them from a media standpoint. So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
What else you got going on?
So this week there was a proposed Tobacco 25 resolution for Suffolk County, New York, Paul.
Oh, I saw you pounding your chest. I saw you pounding your chest this week.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't bet any signed dollar bills with anybody though.
Ballless. That's why. Oh, don't say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, here's what's interesting about this one, Abe. Though, CRA has actually issued a call to action against this, which they didn't issue any calls to action on Tobacco 21. So now it's interesting to see them kind of get on this early right now, because and I kind of felt that this was going to happen. And that's why I was so vehemently saying we should fight Tobacco 21, because by laying down the way we did with Tobacco 21, we made it easy for these Tobacco 25 things to start popping up.
Do you think it's going to pass?
I don't think it will pass now. I don't. I think one of these will. I think once one of these will, it's going to be trouble. There was one in Hawaii earlier this year that was issued that failed.
Yeah, it got shot down, I saw.
Yeah. Paul, you may know Suffolk County a lot better. I mean, what's the read? Would something like this you think pass in there?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, you think it could?
Well, wait. No. I'm sorry. They're very anti-tobacco up here.
Yeah.
I apologize. Super anti-tobacco, so no. No, it's definitely not a cigar friendly place. I mean, it's the same as Nassau. It's the same as the rest of New York. It's very anti-tobacco in any way, shape, or form. Premium cigars are lumped up with every other tobacco product. So you have villages here that I don't know if it's a law, but a lot of them, like, you can't smoke within a certain distance of a school or a park. You can't smoke in any state or county parks in Suffolk County. So like the idea of like going into like, a giant acreage that's a county park and smoking a cigar when there's nobody around you for acres is against the law. You'll get a ticket for doing that.
Wow.
So those types of laws are passed up here in New York. So I can't imagine that anything pro tobacco would pass in the county.
Yeah. It's like I said, I think one of these will pass soon. I really do, because it's different with alcohol. There's a prohibitionist movement against tobacco in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's making these things vulnerable right now. And I just felt if there was much more resistance put up with the 21, now we wouldn't have to be getting into this 25 fight, which is going to start to fester over the next few years. I was told it would never happen.
Let me ask them, do you think that even the most extensive battle would have stopped the 21? I think that's why they didn't fight it, Coop.
No, well, that's what Glenn is saying.
I don't think that was a winnable fight at any level, no matter how much effort you put into it.
Abe, it wasn't, but we laid down on it. I mean, that's the problem. It was like there was nothing on it. Yeah.
I don't think they laid down because they didn't want to attack it. I just think because look, every attack needs resources. It needs time. It needs effort. I'm not speaking out of any knowledge. It's just my personal opinion. But I think there was nothing that was going to stop Tobacco 21. No matter what we did, no matter what we said, no matter who we tried to bribe, I don't think there was anything that could have been done to have stopped it. And I think that's why they didn't even try to fight it. I think 25 is a legitimate argument. I think it's going to be hard to push 25. I think that's why. Yeah. I think that's why the CRA is now involved, because I think it's a battle that's winnable, and it is something that they have a leg to stand on to try to fight.
As an example,
I agree.
As an example, the majority of larger populated states were already 21 for tobacco. New York's been 21 since before I left here. I mean, before I left New York 6 years ago, you had to be 21 to buy any tobacco products. Just as an example, a lot of states already had it.
New York was one of the first to do it. New York City actually was one of the first to do it.
But it was funny because guys that were like 18 and they were smokers and they started smoking at 18, then the next year they're 19, they can't buy tobacco products.
Glenn Loop says Altria had the wheels greased to address the youth access debate.
Yeah, he's right, and he's right on that. He's totally right. Look, the problem is that the cigarette companies weren't doing this either. So it will be interesting to see what the cigarette companies do on Tobacco 25 now.
That'll significantly affect their business because the majority, I believe the majority of cigarette smokers are college students, right? Even today.
Yeah. There's a lot of there's a lot of, I don't want to say majority, but yes.
I'm going to say this, and I'm talking totally out of school, just on feel. I think most of the younger generation does not smoke cigarettes.
I would agree. I feel like I agree with that.
They went to vape. They went to these big block things that they're puffing on all day long. The younger generation aren't doing cigarettes. I think that's more of an old school thing. The older people who've been hooked on it for 10, 15 years are still stuck on it. I don't think the younger generation, they're getting into, that's why Juul became so popular and was a congressional issue, that all the young kids, they've already been brainwashed. Oh, tobacco smells bad. But vape is cool. Vaping is cool. Vaping has infiltrated the youth of America.
this is one thing that the FDA is kind of putting some attention on mainly is if they ban you or prohibit you from using one product, how likely are you to switch to another product?
Right.
And I know that's something that's been looked at a lot right now with, I'm not saying they've done a good job with it, but I know those are some of the questions they've been asking with some of these comment periods. Hey, if you quit vape, you're able to go back and smoke a cigarette or a cigar. So I can't say what the patterns are, other than maybe some of those cigarettes, maybe it's the same percentage of people using tobacco, non-tobacco products, but maybe a lesser percentage of cigarettes right now. I think a fair assessment.
Look, here's the problem with legislation, and we could start a whole show on this topic alone, right?
Right.
If you want to create legislation to solve the problem, it's really easy, right? Liquor doesn't have a problem because liquor's not, I guess liquor is in every 7-Eleven. So yeah, that's not even a good argument. Liquor's everywhere. You can go anywhere and buy liquor because look, if you want to keep tobacco from influencing the children, I mean, they can't advertise. There's nothing they could do. Get it out of the places where the kids go.
Yeah.
Get them out of the 7-Elevens and the convenience stores and all the stuff where the kids are going to get their Snickers and their candy bars and their Slurpees and whatever, and make it. But I'm saying to myself, well, God, there's beer and liquor. Well, there's not liquor, but there's definitely
beer and wine coolers
and wine in every
those seltzers, those new malt seltzers that are out there.
Right.
How is that? How is all the flavored vodka and seltzer? How does that not fall in the same issue?
Right, and it should.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we're a country, we glorify drinking exploits.
We glorify it.
We do. We do glorify it. And unfortunately, that hurts us in a lot of ways because the people don't glorify smoking. Maybe there's a small cigar community it's passionate about, but in general, the general community doesn't glorify smoking. So we're the bad guys.
We are the bad guys. Anything else going on, Coop?
Yeah, last thing, and this also came out, it happened probably about a couple weeks earlier than I expected, but the Nat Sherman Townhouse officially closed its doors in New York City.
Some very emotional and touching posts by Michael Herklotz this week.
Yeah. It was. It was sad.
I watched him on Instagram. He actually, put the sign on the door and all that.
Yeah. I saw that. Coop, being from New York, I mean, listen, I wasn't a huge Nat Sherman cigar smoker, but I've been in that townhouse several times in my lifetime and walked past it when I worked in Manhattan. I mean, at least a few times a week. It was emotional for me to see such a landmark, something that I remember being a part of my life and my New York story for so long, closing. It was an emotional video.
Yeah, it definitely was. When I've gone up to New York, I've gone to Nat Sherman. The problem is that they've always closed early.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you can't get there. You couldn't. It wasn't a night place. It was a daytime place.
Right, 6 o'clock or something, right? They closed, or maybe earlier.
Yeah. I know a bunch of the media guys. We were up in New York a couple of years ago, and they were closed, and we ended up going to another place to smoke, which was the Davidoff place.
Yep.
But we would have went there. But the times I was able to get there during the day, I always went there. It was always a destination spot, and I think I told the story how my father told me he went to Nat Sherman at 7 years old with his father, took him there to get tobacco. That's how long. I mean, that's a lot of history there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, where are there? I know you don't do rumors, but are there rumors about where Herklotz is going?
I have really heard nothing about where he's going.
I think Herklotz is still, even though the store is closed, he still has some time to cross all the T's and dot all the I's.
Yeah, he did say that. He said they still have some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still some things they have to do to, I think, flush inventory and stuff right now.
He said till the end of the year, I think, that he'll definitely be there.
So,
I'm headed over there on Monday.
Are you?
Just to see it for the last time while it's still whole, even though the shelves are empty, and just to visit and pay my respects.
Is he going to let you in? Are you going to go inside?
As far as I know.
Cool.
Take some pictures. That'll be cool.
Yeah,
that place is amazing inside. It's a really, really cool place.
It is.
And I'm a collector, so I'm looking to leave with a piece of history.
You better hurry up, Kurt. I saw Michael giving one of their longest employees the the Nat Sherman clock that was on the wall there. You gotta get
I've been
there soon.
eyeballing that neon sign, so we'll see what happens.
well, Kurt, if the brand goes dormant in a few years,
Could be another one to
you
revive.
can add it into the portfolio to have.
There you go. Now you just caused Kurt another 4 months of sleepless nights.
No kidding.
Thanks. What do you got going on this week? Anything good coming up, Coop?
Yeah, I got some reviews coming up. Diamond Crown Maximus, the new Cohiba Royale is coming up. Podcast-wise, Dylan Austin is scheduled to be the guest.
Dylan was a great interview, actually.
He was one of the top.
Show.
Yeah, I was saying the two best interviews I done on KMA this year that we done was the Rocky one and the Dylan. I think were the two because they just kind of they went into a direction I don't think anyone thought they were going to go.
No,
we didn't think they would go that way.
Yeah.
Dylan
was a good interview. That's good. What night is that show with Dylan?
Thursday night.
Are you going to address the rumor that we started?
I think he addressed it here already, but yeah, I'll address it.
We didn't start it, by the way.
I am not rumor free, so I heard that Michael Cellucci got that job that rumor was about.
We thought, okay.
Michael Cellucci from True Estate got the position that supposedly Dylan Austin was
going to
trying to get. So that's the rumor. That's the recent rumor I've heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not to step on your rumor-free toes, Coop, but
no. This is your show, Abe. So we have the rumor-free thing doesn't apply here.
All right,
share some more, Coop.
You're right. All right, let's see who this belongs in the Cigar Insane Asylum this week.
Music starting now.
Welcome to the Cigar Asylum.
Did you know I'm utterly insane? We all go a little mad sometimes.
Where logic and reason cease to exist.
All right, Abe, who belongs in this week's Cigar Insane Asylum?
Once again, I have not read this in advance, so I hope it's not terrible. But let's see who belongs to the Cigar Insane Asylum this week. This week's inductee couldn't wait to get home and try out. I'm going to assume that word is her and not here.
Oh, yeah.
Try out her new toy that she stole. 36-year-old Teresa Stanley was doing some Monday shopping recently. In her travels, she decided to visit an adult shop in Fort Pierce, Florida. An adult shop in Florida.
How strange.
Not too many. Yeah, how strange. Not too many of those. During her visit, employees called the police. Stanley allegedly decided to steal a pink sex toy from the shop. Now, instead of just stealing the item and running, she wanted to make sure it was worth stealing. Employees claimed that Stanley removed the sex toy from its packaging. Paul.
This is a true story. I've vetted it and snoped it.
Pulled down her pants and began using it in the store. When police arrived, she had moved herself from the stockroom of the store, but was still in the process of testing out her new toy until they told her she was under arrest. With her hands in cuffs, she finally dropped the toy and made her way to jail. Records show the value of the stolen. Was it really stolen, or at this point was it just used?
Well, she opened it without paying for it. That's what I said. Was it? She didn't run out of the store with it.
Was a whopping $45.98. She's arrested on charges of indecent exposure and larceny. Yes, Teresa Stanley, you and possibly Paul DeCrocco for picking the story are inducted into this week's Insane Asylum.
That's not an insane story?
Oh, she's very
I don't know. I mean, she's insane, but sounds like my kind of girl. Is her number in the link by any chance?
Click on the link and look at her, Alex. She is not your kind of girl.
I'm gonna have to check the link.
Oh my
Adam's phrase, "Don't do meth," comes into play here.
Yes.
She obviously was hooked up on something, but at least she stopped when the cops told her she was under arrest.
Did she stop or did she finish? Is the question.
I don't know. I didn't get that far into the story, but it was reported by multiple local Florida news outlets. So, and I snoped it. It is a true story. Only in Florida.
regardless of how it, I guarantee you it wasn't a happy ending. So
Ben on our one of our listeners said it was just gently used. They can resell it.
yes. Next. Listen, I want a big thanks to everybody. Kurt, thank you for taking time on your Saturday.
Kurt, you're
Now,
muted if you want to say something. I'm sorry.
Yes, you can go now. Enjoy this lovely weekend with your lovely lady. Have fun. Enjoy yourself, my brother. Very well deserved.
Yep.
Thank you for taking the time and coming on.
Yeah, really.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks,
on. I
Kurt.
really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
See
Good
you
as
guys.
always. Good as always. And Coop, always a pleasure having you on every week. That's the latest of news. I think Diana Rojas was wondering if that was a dragon, and she must be watching.
I started staring at the screen too.
It's such an eagle. You can tell. It's an eagle. It's an eagle.
Yeah, it was in this lodge. This was such a cool lodge I stayed at last year before the trade show outside of Vegas.
It's an eagle, not a dragon.
Oh, okay. All right. Glad
You guys
figured that
see
out.
that? I'm the
I don't
blind
see
one.
I saw it after Diana
That's
mentioned
feathers, not scales.
I'm looking behind me like it's there, actually, right? I'm looking behind me.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
When you turn around, what do you see? Baskets of laundry?
Yeah.
Listen, you know what? Here's a new segment. Are you ready, Coop?
Yeah.
Let me help you out, Paul, because once again, you suck at your job.
Thank you.
Here's a new segment every week when you come on, right? You pick these weird backdrops from places you visit all over the country, and we take guesses of what room you're
Where it's
really
at.
in or what's behind. And by the end of the show, you reveal the real
Well,
background.
he's
behind
always
it.
going to be in the same room because it's the studio.
Maybe he
that
doesn't
built.
have to be.
I can switch it.
Maybe he doesn't have to be. Maybe he could be a guest. Don't try to ruin it because you can't come up with any ideas
Do
at
you
all.
want me to? Do you need Abe to call Mrs. Coop to see if that's okay, Coop?
Absolutely not.
Unlike Coop can
Absolutely
do what
not.
he wants.
Yeah.
Unlike you, Paul.
Coop,
He can do what he wants.
Coop does a show from what does Skip Martin always say about his daughter? Fiorella does what she wants. Fiorella broadcasts where she wants. Coop broadcasts where he wants.
That's
Hashtag.
right.
Broadcast where.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We are taking a week off next week. You're on the road, Paul.
Yeah, I'll be on the
So
road.
we're taking a week off next week, everybody. We will have a premiere episode. Paul, why don't you go to one of our top fans this week? Have them pick the episode. We did that once before. That
Yeah,
was a
we'll
lot
do
of
that.
fun.
That's all. That was always
Yeah.
a real. We always had great shows when we did that.
Yeah, reach out to a top fan, let them pick one of their favorite episodes, and we'll do a watch party and a premiere. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. Do we have a guest 2 weeks from now, Paul? Or
Not a
maybe I,
tentative
maybe I
guest.
should ask Coop.
We have a tentative guest.
See, when Coop is laughing at you, you know it's bad. 'Cause he's one of the nicest guys ever. So when he's laughing at you, you know how bad it really is. Everybody, wait, you want to defend yourself? Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
There's really no defense. Yeah.
The end of the show.
Listen, everybody have a great week. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Take
Keep
care.
it lit.